everyone, welcome to the Pace Studio in New York City. We're here with Sarah Jaffe this morning. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. What's the first song you're going to play for us today?
We're going to play a song from our new record, Bad Baby, and this is the title track, Bad Baby.
Excellent. Whenever you're ready. Waiting for those final brush strokes to fade away. That sounded awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
So that, like you said, was the title track off your
Yeah.
new record, Bad Baby. Can you tell us a little bit about the album?
Sure. I had received prior to recording this with all of these gentlemen here. I was in just a weird spot that I was very familiar with, and it's just, I think every writer hits it, was just writer's block, but also a weird, familiar complacency that I was just kind of fed up with. And a friend of mine was like, "You have to start compartmentalizing your life because you're not going in every day to punch a clock. There's no clock to punch, so you gotta give yourself some structure and like get dressed like you're going to work and work." And so I took his advice, and a light bulb went off, and I just started writing like every single day. And some of it was total rubbish, but a lot of it was stuff that I took to the studio and we all worked on, and it was just a really great experience overall, just because it was a communal effort and something I hadn't done before, which is make an entire record with a band that I play with live. And so it was not only a communal effort, but I think all of our sweat and heart went into it. So it makes playing the songs live now all the more special. So the time leading up to it was weird, but it also strangely rewarding. But the songs themselves, I think, were written all during that time period, and I guess there's one consistent thread. I mean, not really, but kind of. But it's not thematic, but kind of.
Dude, I feel you on like needing a schedule and stuff.
It's so hard. It's so hard to just wake up and be like, let's do this today. And when you don't have to.
Yeah.
You could just lay around and watch, hours of Netflix.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I don't make it across that hurdle.
And that's
You know?
okay. So could you elaborate on if you ended up finding some sort of like regularity, and if so, kind of what your process, what your schedule ended up being?
Well, my friend was like, in order to compartmentalize your life, to separate your personal domestic life from your artistic self, because they were blurred together. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of like in this 19-year-old singer-songwriter mindset where I'm just like living with my parents and like songs just come to me, and that's not true anymore. That's not the case. It's now my full-time job. So he suggested get up at a certain time, and from this time to this time, allow yourself whatever time, say like an hour. I did like an hour and a half every single day. And you start at 10:30 and you end at 12 on the dot. No matter if you're like feeling good about this song and you want to keep going, you stop. You stop. And so I did this, and it started working. Like by day 2, I was like feeling real cocky. And I was like, oh shit, I got this. Like, I'm good, still got it in me. And then I started to slip a bit. And it's just weird when someone tells you something and it's simple enough. It's almost like proverbial, like, yeah, duh. But it's just, you have to be in that right mindset to take those proverbs right. And you're like, oh yeah, of course this makes sense. And then it starts kind of implementing itself into your everyday life, and that's exactly what happened. So I would just work an hour and a half every single day on writing, and it was really difficult to stop. I mean, very difficult, especially if something was going good, but also if I was frustrated, because you'd want to tackle it. So
Totally. Well, what's the next song you're gonna play for us today?
we're gonna do a song called No Worries. worries, no worries, my love. She asks how I feel, but I don't find it conducive. She asks me again, I say all of the above. Push comes to shove, she goes in for the hug and said, no worries, my love. That's not necessary. You don't need to worry. No worries, no worries, no worries, no worries, my love. No worries, no worries, no worries, no worries, my love. No worries, no worries, no worries, no worries, my love. No worries, no worries, no worries, no worries, my love. Thank you.
So you mentioned before that song, kind of joking about like being 19 and living with your parents and writing, doing the singer-songwriter thing. And it seems like actually your last record, Don't Disconnect, that came out in 2014, had a lot of kind of synth elements and electronic-based elements. And it seems like now, especially with that song, you've really found the sweet spot of kind of both of those elements. So I was wondering if you could kind of trace the way of your journey from kind of musically speaking, from where you started out to this kind of blend of
both organic and electronic. Girl, it's been a long time coming. I think you kind of have to hit both ends of the spectrum. And, I started out on one end of the spectrum, and which was acoustic, and that was all I had. My parents bought me an acoustic guitar, and so that's what I played. And I went in it with just that mentality of like, this is what it is, and didn't really know what it was at the same time. And so I started, I played coffee shops and started playing out. And eventually, after several years, I moved to Denton, and I met Scott. I met another guitar player. And so it just kind of like slowly started coming together, and it's just a constant revolving door. And then I eventually met these guys too, Matt and Dawn, and it just comes with years of playing. And so I guess the way that I started out, because it was just me and a guitar, that's the way I made records. Mm-hmm. And going into making a first record, you don't know what it is, and so you play what you know. And but I listened to everything. I listened to a ton of electronic music from the first record till now. I mean, I still listen to everything. From top 40 radio to classical music. I mean, probably the same stuff you listen to. That's what I listen to. I like it. So going into the second record, I wanted to do something totally opposite, and that's what I did with The Body Wins with John Congleton, and that's the way we approached it. It was couldn't be more opposite than the way that we made Suburban Nature, which was pretty much all acoustic. So it Don't Disconnect, it kind of settled into itself a little bit more, and then with this record, we approached it as a band, and I knew what it was. I knew that I could come in with an acoustic demo and that it can totally transform. I was confident enough, and I think we all in the studio, especially, like, that's my favorite part, to hear a song transform and to play with people that I know are phenomenal musicians, but also we all like each other. And so when something sounds like total bullshit, like, everyone feels it immediately. And so I think that's what's especially why I'm especially emphatic about this record, because we approached it as a band, and just feeling confident and knowing that a song can be super simple. And I can't tell you how many times I've recorded demos like just on bass or like singular notes that just have one monotonous note, knowing that it would totally transform later into something else and have this vision for it. So I love the idea having something be super simple but have this grand vision for it, and then like tackling it and seeing it come into fruition. So I think that's just what it is for me at this point, is just like having a bigger vision for each song.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can tell. I think you can feel it when hearing these songs, which is
Absolutely.
really cool. Specific question. I heard you kind of talking while you guys were getting set up. Is there an echocardiograph effect that is like one of the pedals?
Department.
What?
Yeah.
It's just a cardboard box with a little piezo drum trigger.
He's
kind of
playing
microphone.
boxes.
Okay. I was like, do we have like medical supplies up in here? Okay, cool. Well, you've got one more song for us today. What's the last one?
We're going to play a song called Shit Show, and this song is actually, I wrote this song after a phone conversation with Scott and I. And it was a very, as you can imagine, it was a very like dopey phone conversation. And it's basically, what the song is about is like, I told you this. Yeah. It was dopey on both of our parts. It's basically like this. I mean, to me, it was written in the vibe of dark humor, which is basically just like, we love playing music so very much, and we were talking about how we love it so much. And I just remember thinking, like, I love it so much. I just wish that my love for it would be equal to the outcome sometimes. And when you have that contradiction, what a shit show it is. When you love something so much and it just won't love you back sometimes, and how devastating it can be, how funny it can be in retrospect. Like when you end up in these insane situations, just absolutely insane. And then you go home after touring and you're just like, wow, I mean, shit, like,
What
this
is life?
is cuckoo.
Yeah.
What
absolutely.
I'm doing is absolutely crazy. Even the simplest of things that no one thinks about. So that's what the song's about. Let's do it. It's a solo set, I'm playing alone. It's an animal down to skin and bone. It's a cry for help, no telephone. It's an awkward combination, some deadbeat conversation. Whoa, it's gonna be a shit show. Catch you tomorrow, I gotta run home. Recent studies have shown it's gonna be a shit show. And to some extent, it feels so wrong. It's a cry for help, no telephone. It's an awkward combination, some deadbeat conversation.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
So for anyone tuning in here in New York, you guys are going to be at Rockwood Music Hall tomorrow.
Right.
Do you have other tour dates coming up?
None at the moment. We have a few one-offs, but no tour dates at the moment.
All right.
Yeah.
But Bad Baby out
Yes.
now. You guys can check that out. Thank you so much, Sarah
Thank
Jaffe.
you. Thanks for having
and
us.
everyone. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.